Happy June, class of 2027. We are officially in summer mode, and we are also on the official countdown to the Common App opening up, which will be on August 1st. So I love to come on every month and give you just some updates of what you should be working on and focusing on so you have a timeline to keep you on track. Because the more you can be on track, the less pressure you will feel when you are back in school in the fall and you're trying to juggle everything with your senior classes and just enjoying senior life. So let's jump in and see everything that you should be working on right now. If all of the changes coming out of admissions right now has taught us one thing, is that quantitative measurement matters in college admissions. If a school is truly, truly test optional, then maybe not. But for most of those selective schools that claim to be test optional, they are still looking for quantitative measures. So that would be either SAT or ACT or even IB and AP scores. Now, for the SAT and ACT, you can take the test as many times as you need, and many schools out there will super score, which means they will take the highest from each exam to come up with an overall new super score. Now, in terms of the SAT, the spring registration has all ended at this point. Some of you may be sitting for the June SAT, but they have opened all of the fall registration dates. The August exam tends to fill up very quickly as there are not tons of locations that typically offer the SAT. So be sure, go out, start booking those exam dates. Also, ask your school counseling office if they will be hosting a school day SAT. Many schools offer a day during the fall for the seniors specifically to take a fall SAT. So that could be potentially another option that would get you a score back in time for early action or early decision. Now, with the ACT, there is still time to sign up for the July exam, just a couple dates there, and then a late registration. And then they also have their fall registration open. So, again, you want to get these scheduled so that you have a seat and that you will have more scores to potentially add when applying this fall. Now, what should you be working on right now? My advice and the timeline that I'm giving all of my students is to start working on the Common App, specifically in the section that is labeled My Common Application. Anything that you do in the My Common Application will save as you go. And then on August 1st, when the colleges officially open their application and the Common App is updated for the 26-27 application year, all the information that you entered in My Common Application will roll over. So I encourage you to work through these sections, do as much as you can. You're not going to be able to do all of it. There are going to be some things that you're going to want to wait on. For example, your senior schedule, you're going to want to make sure before you enter your courses that you know nothing is going to change. You may be going back in to update test scores because you're still taking, or you're waiting to hear back from your AP scores. So there, again, there's going to be some parts that you might need to go back in and enter, but do as much as you potentially can in this section. You can also, under the college tab, start adding colleges if you'd like. Just be careful that you don't enter any information in the actual college application. While your list will roll over on August 1st, any information that you type into the colleges will be completely erased. So don't spend any time in that other than just potentially building your college list. If you have invited recommenders, that will also be lost. So you'll need to redo that again on August 1st when the application reopens. Now, what else should you be working on right now? One is I encourage all students, if you're able to, is get a copy of your transcript once your grades are finalized from your junior year. That is very helpful for you in terms of down the road self-reporting grades. You're going to see that there are some colleges that will allow you to upload an unofficial copy of your transcript. For some of the schools that do self-reporting, that's what you're going to work off. So it's just good to have a copy on hand. And then, as I always say, take your transcript, put it next to your school profile. So your school profile should be available on your school's counseling website where you can see how colleges are going to view you, because colleges typically look at your transcript in context to your school profile. So they're trying to get a good understanding of not only what courses you took and how well you did, but what your school offers so they can figure out what level of rigor you took advantage of, how competitive you are in context to your high school environment. So again, grab that. You will want to keep brainstorming and building your college list. This is the time. Do your research. I have a really great free prompt right on my website. If you want to use AI to help build your college list, ways that you can structure questions to maybe come across schools that you haven't thought of, and just start comparing and contrasting things that are important to you, things that you'd be more flexible with. So again, you want to keep harnessing your college list and making sure it's balanced, that you have a good feel for schools that you think you might be able to get into, for schools that are going to be a little bit more of a reach. And not only can you get into these schools, but are you going to be able to afford the schools that you think you can get into, right? We want a very well-rounded, balanced list. Start touring colleges if you haven't already. It will very much make any supplementals that you might have to write a lot easier. It also just gives you a clear understanding of what types of campuses you think you would like and thrive on. Now, one thing I will always warn students about is who you are now as you're brainstorming this list versus who you are when you apply to college versus who you are in May of senior year when you have to make a decision is going to change. And that is okay and that is expected. That's just part of growing and changing and learning. And like I said, discovering more about yourself. So you want a list that is going to have a little bit of everything in terms of a list that will have bigger schools, smaller schools, schools closer to home, schools further away. Because again, what you think you might want now might evolve and change, and you want to have some choices later. So explore all different types of options. And even if you can't get out to visit schools maybe further away, start in in your backyard. Start looking at maybe the private school in your area, the big state school in your area, so that you can start comparing and contrasting different sizes as well as just overall different types of environments. There are schools that are small liberal arts, there are schools that are your big public research, and it's good to know how each of these function and what the student bodies are like. As you're building your list, you also want to start strategizing your deadlines. So you're going to see every school is going to have a different admissions process. There are different deadlines out there, everything from rolling admission. So my advice is always the applications open on August 1st. If you have any rolling admission schools on your list and you're ready to go, meaning you're not taking any more SAT or ACTs, you've got your transcript updated, you know your senior courses aren't changing, you can start applying to those schools. Rolling admission schools typically get your decisions back within 3 to 4 weeks. So those can be some early wins for you. And from there, you want to then start strategizing with your early action if you're going to do early decision. And then obviously regular decision is going to come last. But having a nice little checklist for yourself of kind of the order that you want to work on things will really help you prioritize your time and understand how much work is going to need to go into each application. Keep brainstorming. This summer, you should be working on your essay. Your senior self will thank you if you do your essay. And my advice is always try to get your main essay, the one that is in the Common App that gets sent to every single school, try to have that complete by July 31st, so that on August 1st, when the college applications open, you can completely pivot to working on the college application and any college supplements that may be required for that school. The other thing is some schools do start releasing their supplemental essays earlier in the summer, many times in June and July. So kind of keep your ears, eyes, everything open to see what might be released so that if there is a school that announces it earlier, you can get a jump start. You don't have to wait till August 1st for everything. But like I said, anything that you can get done before July 31st will just kind of balance out the workload for you later. Again, like I said, keep working on that Common App. And this is a really fun slide I wanted to share with you. And this is something that I am encouraging all of my students to do is there are lots of ways this summer that you can strengthen your application for free, meaning you don't have to do those fancy paid research programs or summer camps. There are a lot of things that you can do that later in your application, especially in the supplementals or your main essay, that can really enhance and show your intellectual curiosities, the hobbies that you have, how you spend your unstructured time. I think for many students, much of your life has been very organized, very planned, opportunities potentially not so much being handed to you, but just being completely planned and that you're joining versus you taking the initiative to do things just out of pure joy because you're truly interested. This is where you find fun. This is what you're doing when nobody else is telling you to. And those are the things that later, potentially, when you get asked questions like, why do you want to come to this school? Or why do you want to major in something specific? Something that, please tell us about something that has been meaningful to you. These are all things that can help shape those essays. And so, and of course too, take the college admissions part out of it. These are all things that just help us grow as individuals, that make us better conversationalists, right? So these are all things that you want to just add in and do for fun. And like I said, they don't cost you anything. So you're crazy not to just kind of try something new for the summer, even if you only do one or two of these things. So that is everything that I have for you for the month of June. So stay tuned and I will see you again in July.